Hello guys, this is Prime Concepts. I'm here to unravel a concept under electrostatics. Now we have a problem, we want to find the force. And this is a problem of Coulomb's force in two dimension, x and y, two dimension. Now we have two charges, Q1 and Q2, are located at the positions R1 equals 0.3 meters J. And what does J mean? J is a unit vector that tells you that that quantity is pointing along the y-axis. So J points along the y-axis. This is positive 0.3 meters J, so it means along the positive y-axis, and R2 along the positive x-axis. I tells you it is pointing out along the x-axis respectively. So the force exerted on Q2 by Q1 has y and x components given us. So we want to find the y component of the force and also the x component of the force exerted on Q2. What it simply means in this case is that Q2 that is receiving the force is our test charge. Q1 that is exerting the force is our source charge. Very important. Q2 is our test charge, Q1 is our source charge. The next thing I want to do, I'll draw the solution diagram. I'll be solving this problem in two methods. So at the end, you choose which method is preferred by you and you follow up with that method. Now, we have Q1 is located at 0.3 y-axis. So if this is my origin, it means this is going to be 0.3 meters. So this is my Q1. Then Q2 is located at 0.4 meters x-axis, positive x-axis. So this is what I have, 0.4 meters. So this is going to be my Q2, right? Yes. So this is my Q2. The next thing you want to do is to know that Coulomb's force would always act along the line that connects the two charges. So we have Q1, we have Q2. The line that joins them is this. So this is where Coulomb's force would act, or the electrostatic force. And the next thing we want to find is R, the distance R. So, and seeing that this is a right-angled triangle, we can use Pythagoras theorem to find R. So I would have that R is square root of 0.3 square plus 0.4 square, right? So if you punch this, evaluate with your calculator, you would get 0.5 meters. So our R is 0.5 meters, right? Now, the next thing I want to do, I want to complete that diagram. Remember, this is the direction for this, this is the direction for this. I want to complete the diagram. Now, Q1 is a positive charge, Q2 is also a positive charge. So meaning that you would have a repulsive force between Q1 and Q2. Remember that Q1 is your source, and repulsive force would always point away, out of the source, away from your source. So I'm going to draw the force pointing away, pointing out from the source. So this is my F12. That is the force, right? Now, if you draw this diagram, you would notice that Q1 can be resolved. It can be resolved to the y-axis. It can also be resolved to the x-axis. So I'm going to call this place angle theta. Now, if I call this angle theta, automatically this place also becomes theta. And why would this angle and this be equal? Very correct, because both of them are vertically opposite angles, so they will be equal. Now I'm going to do something and later you'll understand why. So let's find sine theta. We'll be using it later. Now let's find sine theta from this triangle. Remember, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so 0.3 by 0.5. Then the next thing I want to find is cos. Cos is adjacent over hypo, at 0.4 by 0.5. So I found this. Remember, we're trying to find the x and y components of the force on Q2. And let me write out my charges so that I can rub this space. My Q1 has a value of 5 times 10 to the power minus 6. My Q2 has a value of 20 times 10 to the power minus 6. Right? So I want to rub this space now. Now, I want to find f12. What would f12 be, so that I can now resolve it into the x and y component? X and y component, right? So what will f12 be? It's going to be k q1 q2 by r12 squared. So what is k? 9 times 10 to the power 9. q1 5 times 10 to the power minus 6. q2 20 times 10 to the power minus 6 divided by r12 is this distance. R12 as the distance, which is 0.5 squared. If I punch this with my calculator, 9 by 100 divided by, so that is 3.6 Newton. So this is F12. But this is not your answer, take note. The question says find the force on the y direction and the force on the x direction, the y and x components. So I want to solve. Now, what is my Fy component going to be? Fy simply means you are resolving this force, you are bringing it to this place. And I earlier thought in my previous videos that whenever you are resolving a force and you are opening the angle, you use sine. When you are closing an angle, you use cos. So if I'm resolving this to this place, you notice I'm opening this angle, so I'll be using sine. You also take note that when you resolve this to this place, this force will be pointing down. See the arrow? When you drag it here, it will be pointing down. And you know downwards means what? Negative. So I'm going to put Fy is going to be negative because it will be pointing down. Negative F12. Now, since I'm opening the angle, I'll be using sine theta. So if I substitute, I have minus 3.6 sine theta. That is why I had to solve this early. So sine theta is what? 0.3 divided by 0.5. So what is my F12? Let me quickly punch. So this is negative 2.16. So this is my Fy, right? Very simple. The next I want to get is Fx. Fx simply means I would resolve this, I'll take this to this point. And when I'm trying to take this to this point, you would notice I'm closing that angle, closing theta. So I'll use cos. And it's pointing towards the positive x-axis, so it's positive. So I have F12 cos theta. So what is my F12? 3.6. What is cos theta? 0.4 divided by 0.5. So if I punch this, I would have 2.88 Newton. So with this, I've gotten my answer, right? So the y component of that force is negative 2.16. The x component of that force is what? 2.88. I believe this concept is very clear. So in order for me not to make this video too long, I'm going to solve only this method here. In my next video, I'm going to solve the second method. So when you watch, you'll see the next video. I'll be doing the second method, then you choose which method is easier for you to understand and follow up with that method, right? I believe that this concept is very clear. Thanks for watching my video. Do subscribe to my channel, like and share with your friends so that they can also benefit. Remember, this is Prime Concepts. Thank you.